Hello ladies and gentlemen, my name is Destiny and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, we're going to go ahead and start working with deleting items from the cart page. And in this one, we're going to be working with sessions. We're going to be working with Django views and Ajax views. So do make sure to drop a like on this video if you want to see my videos like this. And also if you want to get a template, do make sure to check out the link in the description below. That should point you to the right direction to get a template. So without any further ado, let's go ahead and get started. So the first thing that we're going to do is go ahead and follow the backend logics. And as you can see from over here, it says we should add a class delete item and data item product ID in the cart list page. Okay, so that's what we're going to be doing over here in this one. This is what we're going to be targeting, this trash thing here. And I'm going to change this to a button. That's what we're going to be using. You can also leave a link if you want, but make sure to remove the HR thing. We're not going to be using it, href rather. And I'm going to also change this to button. So now if we get back here and not over here but here and refresh, now we should see this. I'm going to close up some other tabs over here. Okay, this is what we have. Now I'm going to open up my DevTools, and right now if we click on this, we wouldn't see anything pop up. As you can see, nothing is happening. And I also want to style this a little bit because I want to remove the border that we have over there. So I'm going to say border, and I simply want to pass in none. So I'm going to say none, and I'm going to refresh this. So as you can see, the border is gone, but we still have this background thing, and we could also go ahead and say background, and we could just pass in none, and I'm going to refresh this. Now as you can see, the background is gone. So that's pretty much what we want, and we're going to give it a class of delete. I could just say delete products. So delete products, and also we want to give this a data item or data product. You can call it whatever you want. I'm going to say data product, and for this one I'm simply going to pass in the product ID. So I'm going to say product ID, so product underscore ID. Now how do we know what we're doing over here? Okay, we're going to go ahead and grab this using JavaScript, and we're going to try console login it to see what we have. So over here, as you can see, it says we should add these two things, and we've added it. And now we need to write jQuery code to delete the item from the cart. Okay, that's what we're going to be doing now. So let's go ahead and open up our function.js. This is it over here, and just down here, immediately after this one, which is this over here, I'm going to go ahead and write another one. So that one is going to be deleting. Actually, what I could do is just copy this. So I'm going to copy this one over here, and I want to paste it. Now on click of delete products, so on click of delete products, remember that's what we call the class over here. I'm going to close that off, make this a little bit bigger. See, we call it delete products. So on click of delete products, what do we want to do? We could go ahead and let's get a product ID. So I'm going to say let's product underscore ID should be equal to, and I'm gonna pretty much pass in this dot. Remember that's the button that has the data dash products, and I've explained this before. Hopefully you guys know this over here. That's how we get it. Now we simply want to get, okay, yeah, that's just what we want to get. And can we go ahead and also see this value, and I'm simply going to pass in this. So let's log, I want to log product ID. So whenever we click on the delete button, I want to log the product ID, and I'm gonna say product ID. Okay, so add a comma over there or a plus, anyone. So now let's go ahead and test this out. Just over here, I'm gonna hard refresh this, and we hard refresh it. Now let's try clicking on one of this. Okay, there is a problem. Actually it's not working, right? It's not working here. So let's see what the problem is. Product ID, these the attributes data dash product. We called it here already, data dash product. We passed in the product ID on click of this over here. So what's the problem? Now I want to get to the top of my page, and I want to look for something. I'm going to minimize this. I'm also going to minimize. I'm going to minimize this one, minimize this, minimize the add to cart, minimize this one also. Now you know what? I'm going to put all this add to cart things in here. So when the document has finished loading up, that's when I want to execute all this other code. Okay, so delete product. Hopefully that's what we call it. We are not missing anything out. Now I'm gonna also copy that to be very sure that that's what we called it, and I'm just gonna paste that over here. And on click of that, okay, there is a problem down here. As you can see, it expected a comma. Now let's open this up. Okay, so what I could do now is just go ahead and okay, it's expecting this here. So we console log product ID. Now let's go ahead and try this out one more time, and hopefully it's gonna work this time around. So we click on this. Okay, what do you notice now? We're getting the product ID 1, 4. Yeah, that's pretty much what we want. Now let's go ahead and keep writing this functionality. So now I'm gonna start off by writing the Ajax. I'm gonna say .ajax, and I'm simply gonna go ahead and get the URL that we're gonna be sending this request to, and I'm simply gonna call the URL. We could say we're gonna call it delete, maybe delete item or delete product. Okay, delete product. Let me just say delete from cart. I think that sounds more better, right? And also I'm gonna say data. So what data do we want to pass in? I'm gonna get the ID, and this ID is gonna be assigned to what? Product ID. So that's just what we need as data. And the data type, that's what we've been using, JSON. And also before we send this, what do we want to do? So we could go ahead and disable this button. So while this is still sending, we could go ahead and disable this button, or we could even make the button to be, we could just hide the button or something while we are sending it. So how do we do that? Before send, I'm going to create a simple function that's going to help us run that. So over here we passed in, I'm just going to say this underscore val dot attribute, and okay, I could say this underscore val dot hide. So let's hide this while we are still sending. Okay, now that's it. So we click on this. As you can see, we hide it. So while it's still sending, it's gonna stay hidden. Okay, then when it's done, it's gonna show up again. Okay, hopefully you guys understand. Now I'm gonna copy this, and I'm gonna paste this down here at a comma. So this one is now gonna be success function. Then for this one, I'm gonna pass in a response. So I'm gonna say response, and for this one, we should go ahead and show. So now we're gonna go ahead and show it because it's already successful, right? It's already working now. So we show it. Now I'm gonna get over here. This is supposed to be show. Okay, and also as it shows, we need to go ahead and remember the way we were working with this item thing over here. That's the same thing that we want to do. Now how do we do that? I'm gonna get back here. Remember we called it cart item count from the add to cart, this one over here. Remember we called this. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna grab this, and over here I'm gonna paste it, and I'm gonna paste it cart item count. Remember that's what we called it, response dot total items. And one more thing that we'd want to do is go ahead and get this data in real time. Whenever we add to cart or delete from cart, whatever, we're gonna get it in real time. So how do we do that? We want to have a new template that's gonna automatically render whenever we delete any of this over here. So but for now we don't have that. I'm still gonna come back here and I'm gonna do that, or you know what, I'm just gonna write it out right now, and then later I'm gonna get back and explain what's going on. So I'm gonna say cart page, we could just call it cart list or async cart page. You can call it whatever you want. So I'm gonna say .html, and what I want to pass in is the response.data, which I'm gonna create now. I haven't created it yet. So now what we want to do is get back here to the views.py, and now we need to create a new view that's gonna delete from cart. Okay, so I need to say delete item from cart. Okay, and for this one, it's simply gonna take in requests, and down here let's get a product ID. So I'm gonna say product underscore ID should be equal to, and firstly I'm gonna pass in a string. So I want to convert this to a string, and I'm gonna say request dot get, and what do I want to get? ID, and this is the ID I'm getting. So whatever you call this is what you should grab over here. Okay, So now when we've done that, I'm simply going to go ahead and get the session. So I'm going to, okay, rather I want to check if there is any session like cat underscore data obj. So in requests.session, so if there is any session like this, then what do we want to do? Firstly, let's go ahead and check if we got the product ID in the session. So if this product underscore ID is in that session, is in the requests dot session, and what is the name of the session? It's called cat data obj, right? So I'm gonna say cat data obj. This is supposed to be in. Now let's make this a little bit bigger. So if there is this product ID, which is this one, which is anyone that was clicked on over here, if it's in the session, which it is already there, then I want to go ahead and do something, and that's pretty much deleting the product from the session. And how do we do that? So firstly, we want to get the data. So we're going to say cat data should be equal to request.session, and we get the session. It's called cat data obj. I'm just going to paste that in. So we get the session, and we assign it to this variable called cat data. Now in order to delete that product ID, I'm simply going to say delete, then by its request.session. So we say delete request.session, and what session do we want to delete the product from? It's going to be this session, and we're simply going to pass in the product ID. So what do we want to delete? The product ID, which is the one that we clicked on. Hopefully you understand what's going on. So now when we've done this, we could go ahead and just reassign the session to the cat data. So I'm going to say request.session, and what is the name of the session? It's called cat data obj. I'm gonna assign that to cat data. So yeah, that's pretty much what we want to do. Now also we want to go ahead and recalculate the prices. So I'm gonna copy this price thing that we got over there, and I'm gonna paste it just down here. Okay, so we recalculate the price because obviously now we have new data over here, so we need to go ahead and recalculate all those prices and pass it in there. Okay, so now when we've done this, take notes, this over here should be at the top, or you're gonna get an error. So now when we've done that, let's go ahead and return a template. So I'm gonna say context should be equal to, then we could use render to string, but what I want to do is just go ahead and grab one of the render to strings that I've got. So remember this one. I'm gonna get down here, and you could call that data, you could call it context. I'm gonna call it context also to show you that you call it whatever you want. So context should be async, and this one is gonna be cat list.html. Okay, so cat list.html and products, but that's not what I want to do this time around. What I'm gonna do is go ahead and get rid of all this product thing, and I simply want to go ahead and grab this. Remember we had this thing that we were working with, so I'm going to grab it all the way from there, and I want to paste it down here, and let's take a close look at it and see what we need to remove and what we need to stick with. Okay, so cat list request.session, cat obj, total item, we get the length, we pass in cat total item. Okay, cat total amount rather. That's pretty much what you want to do. So now let's go ahead and return this template using JSON. So I'm going to say return JSON response, and what do I want to return? I simply want to return, we could call it context, or we could call it data. So I'm going to say data, and remember we called it context over there. So now this data is pretty much this one that will say response.data. So let's say we call this context, then over here we're going to say response.context. Okay, now this response is whatever you pass in here, and take note, you can pass in whatever you want in here, burrito. Okay, now when we've done that, we'll pass in data, then we assign it to this context, and we also need to go ahead and pass in the total cat items, which is this one that we called over here, right? So over here I'm going to say total cat items should be what? I think we can't just pass it in like that. We need to go ahead and get the session, which is what we have here already. So now if we just come over here, we could copy this or steal it, whatever. So I'm gonna copy that, and I'm gonna get back here, and I'm gonna paste it. Okay, So now when we've done that, I think that's pretty much what we want to do, guys. So let's go ahead and create this template called cart lists HTML in the async folder. So in the async folder, this one over here, I'm gonna right click async. That's I don't want to delete that. So in the async, I want to create a new file, and that one is going to be cart list HTML. So what I want to do is copy everything that I have in my cart. I'm simply going to copy everything in my cart. I'm going to paste it in the cart list, apart from the fact that I'm going to be getting rid of these things that we have at the top, okay? And also I'm going to get rid of this end block thing. But now in the carts.html, not cart list, in the main, you want to add an ID, and this ID over here is going to be whatever you will pass in here. Okay, so cart list. So hopefully you guys understand what we are trying to do over here. Now we're going to be rendering this new cart list template asynchronously. Okay, we're going to be rendering it in real time using JSON. Now whenever the user refresh, then they're going to get their real cart over here, but on the fly we're going to be using this cart list. That's why we append the response.data to it over here. Okay, so you want to make sure that it's in the cart list that you append this. Okay, and you could also even copy this and put it in here in the cart list. So over here I could just put this in cart list. Yeah, that's it. So I think that's pretty much what we want to do. Now let's go ahead and see our backend logic to see if we are still on the right track. So okay, we haven't created a URL. So over here I'm gonna create a new URL. This one is gonna be delete item from cart, and this view should be delete item from cart, and I call this delete from cart over here. So you want to make sure that that's the same thing that I call it over here. Remove the slash, or we could stick with a slash, it doesn't really mean. And I think that's pretty much what you want to do. Now there's a problem. Let's see what the problem is from over here. Okay, it's looking for a semicolon, for a colon rather, not a semicolon. So let's see, where is it looking? If products ID, this is it over here. This is what it's looking for. So that means we need to indent all this, right? Yeah. So I think that's it. Now let's go ahead and refresh this. I'm gonna get back here, refresh, it's working. So let's go ahead, let's test this out now and see how everything works. I'm gonna open up my dev tools to make sure that we don't have any error. So for now I'm gonna go ahead and click this. Okay, what do you notice? It's deleted it. That's pretty cool, and it's updated this in real time. So if we delete this, okay, I think we still need to refresh that again in order to do that, and that's not what we want. So we need to go ahead and fix that. I'm gonna show you guys. So we click on this, as you can see, it's gone. Great, without refreshing the page, and it's all updates the price in real time. And also, as I said earlier, we need to go ahead and change this up. So let's fix that. So as you can see, we removed 2 of this, and I'm gonna remove this final one. So now when we don't have anything in the cart, as you can see, it shows there are 0 products in your cart. We don't want to show this button over here. We don't want to show this proceed to checkout. That's because we don't have anything in the cart, right? Yeah, we don't have anything, so we don't want to show that. And you can see that I actually showed that over here. Let's see. Oh, I didn't actually show it, but we need it. Okay, so how do we do that? I'm simply gonna look for the proceed to checkout. I'm gonna look for proceed to checkout. This is it over here, and I simply need to check if we have total items. Then that's only when we want to go ahead and actually pass that in. So how do we do that? So for that, I'm simply gonna say if total cart items, which means there is something in the item, then that's only when I want to go ahead and proceed to the checkout. So I'm gonna say end for. And now if we refresh this over here, we shouldn't. Oh, you're still seeing that. Let's make sure that this is also in the cart HTML. So in the cart HTML, you want to look for proceed to checkout, and we're simply gonna override that there. Now we shouldn't see that again. There's a problem. It says invalid. It's expected an end if not end for. Make sure to also change it over here, or you're gonna get a problem. So we change it over here also, and if now we refresh this, okay, it's not showing. So let's add up some things to the cart again and try removing them. So I'm gonna add, and add. Okay, so now if we come over here, as you can see, we got all this. Give this a hard refresh, and let's start removing. So we remove, as you can see, it shows 4 products. We have 4 products. If we remove this now, it shows we have 3 products. That's looking great, right? We have 3 products, and it recalculates the price for us. So we could go ahead and also remove this. As you can see, it shows we have 2 products. That's looking pretty well. Now we could remove this, and also I think we could also remove this. Okay, so as you can see, when we remove it, it removes the checkout button automatically. That's pretty cool. So I think that's gonna be it for this video. In the next one, we should go ahead and start working with updating products from the cart page. So in the cart, we could update quantity, and it should automatically update the prices for us. Yeah, that's going to be it. Do make sure to drop a like, consider subscribing, as it really mean the world to me. And also, if you want to get a template, check out the link in the description below. It should point you to the right direction to get a template. And until the next video, mad love, peace out.